are live and welcome. Hold on one second, everybody. We are live and welcome to the Seven City Shoptalk Sports Show, broadcasting live from the beautiful state of Virginia to you, fans, viewers, and listeners all over the world. I can tell you about 3-4 days ago, I was feeling excited about what we had coming up for that game that happened Saturday, but being that I'm very excited about this show, and I think some of the prospects of what we got going on, it looks like this is going to be a very interesting show, very good show. But we want to thank you for joining us on another episode of our brand of dysfunctional camaraderie. And as of now, this shop is open. And as you can see, I have all of my co-hosts here outside of Seawood and Amy Hitt. They may jump in as well. It's always good when it's a Victory Tuesday. And, like I said, I got my co-hosts here. I want to give them their opening monologue. First is up is AB. AB, what you got going on today? Give me your opening monologue for the game and for this week.
Well, I've been thinking today's Monday all day. So you'll have to excuse me. We have fresh out of the shower hair and we have my dinner, but it's okay. We're here to talk football, so I'll just enjoy my dinner while we're talking about it. But I'm feeling good after this win this weekend. And I mean, obviously I'm happy because it's a Tech loss too. So overall, good football weekend.
Double whammy. All right, Ed. Let me bring you in. Here we go.
All right.
Ed, go ahead, Ed. What you got, brother? Opening monologue.
Personally, my weekend was crushed with the Tech loss. It just ruined it. Saturday doesn't even matter now.
All right. And now we got Ethan. Let me bring you in, Ethan.
What up?
What you got, man? Opening monologue for this week.
Well, I mean, a very impactful weekend. A lot of different teams were surprising in how they performed. So I think that'll be good to go over. It's a good weekend overall. I went to the beach for a little bit, so had a good little relaxation. But definitely interesting events from all the college sports.
Absolutely. So, as we said a little earlier, really excited to get this show started. Of course, what we had on the marquee, on the docket for today, we're going to talk about the win, the big win, and I'm going to call it a big win, being that this is really the first time this program has embarked on what I guess we'll call it semi-big boy football, going all in 100%, into the world of football and putting up with all the demons that come with it, good or, and the bad that comes with it. But, we're going to talk about, the win. Are you surprised? We're going to have a roundtable discussion about, what we saw in the game also and what happened and what we expected to happen and what we didn't expect happen, but actually did. We'll also talk about game 2. We got NC State coming up, and that's going to be a high noon game in Raleigh on the road. Big game. Hate to say, what do we say? Must win, but it is a need to win, should win statement making. But we'll finish that up, and then if we got some NFL topics we want to discuss as well, we can get into that. But let's go ahead and just jump it right off. Big win for the Wahoos this Saturday, 6:00, an evening game, which was a little bit of a surprise. That UVA was getting some prime time footage. A prime time game against Coastal Carolina, a team that was 6-6 before the bowl game. They wound up being 6-7. They lost, but they're a team that won 6 games, and UVA did beat last year. And based off of our scores, and I know AB, you're gonna have the scores for us, but what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna bring Ethan in first, and I want you to give me your idea, Ethan. About the big win on Saturday. Were you surprised?
Yeah, how big we scored towards the end kind of surprised me. I thought we kind of started a little slow. I definitely like seeing that the run game kind of initiated and started, and they didn't really shy away at first from it. I actually left at the second half because I had to leave, but I still kept up over radio. And I mean, it kind of reminds me of Broncos 2019 season where we were, well, I don't think we scored on defense, but we were pretty close to it. But scoring on all three aspects of the ball was pretty nice. Now, I can't remember if we scored off that defensive interception or if we kicked a field goal there. I feel like we didn't. I don't think we capitalized, but nonetheless, we were making plays in all three areas, so that was pretty pleasing. I think it'll be interesting to see how the next couple of matchups are based off of this one, because if you go back and look at like Coastal Carolina from last year to this year, they're a little different of a team, and so are we. And all of football landscape with this transfer portal and NIL deal. So I think it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season recaps, especially the next three games coming up to Florida State. I'll leave it at that for now.
Okay. All right. Let me bring you in, Ed. What were you surprised about? What did you think of the game this past Saturday?
It's I really was enjoying the what's that phrase that I absolutely hate? Complimentary football. Um, that as Ethan was saying, scoring in all three aspects of the game. Did we block a punt? Or
Yes.
we did. We did. Okay, so we blocked a punt, had a kickoff return for a touchdown, scored on defense, and the offense looked to be, for the most part, clicking. Um, Everybody got reps. What was it? Four different people carried the ball plus Morris, something like that. Yeah. Ideally, I'd like to see like X and what's the transfer kid?
Jamar.
Jamar. Yeah. I'd like to see those two get more reps, but that may be something we'll see further down the line.
How about that interception that the Coastal Carolina guy had?
I was thinking there was about a stretch there in what was that, third quarter. There were a couple of top 10 plays within the same game, within the same quarter even. I stand corrected on Cam Ross. The kid is as advertised. I thought Morris did okay. I was a little disappointed to see him have to leave the game, but I guess what's the other out of an abundance of caution, they took him out. So, but as I understand, the plan was for the backup to get a long run in the second half anyway. So, I don't think it's any lasting major injuries. So we got to win. There's enough there to still work on. I know we had backups in, but backups may have to be starters, and if that's the case, they're going to have to play better. So, all in all, it's a pretty solid all-around effort. Like I said, complimentary football, which is kind of weird to say with Virginia, but it is what it is. And Tech lost and Carolina lost. So,
right.
Overall, it was a successful weekend.
Well, let me come to AB. Hey, so AB, what did you think about the game?
So, I mean, I agree with Ethan to it started off slow, but I mean, that's kind of expected. They're kind of you could tell they were trying to get it together, like really figure out how to play together against another team. But once it clicked, I felt like we looked really good. I think the biggest thing that I took away from start to finish was watching our guys be able to hang on from start to finish. We didn't look exhausted. Usually our defense starts wearing down third quarter. Yes, this is just game one, but we looked strong. We looked healthy. We looked prepared. And like
Right.
everyone said, on all sides of the ball, we just overall looked good. Um, I think that there are some better decisions that we could be making. Like, Morris, I know he really wanted to get that, but I would have loved to see him slide to protect himself. I mean, we were already winning pretty big at that point, so I feel like we just should have been a little bit more careful. But I was highly, highly, highly impressed by Cam Ross. Highly impressed. I think he's
Well,
going to be a big game changer for us all season.
well, you called it as far as him being your player to watch. You called it this past, and I said he would be the X factor pre-game for the pre-game show, and I did, and I was like, well, you know, there's going to be an X factor every game I'm going to call, and he definitely showed out. He was from the stats, he was the first player in 25 years to have 100 catching yards, a touchdown receiving, and a touchdown return for 100 and a touchdown return for 100 yards on a kickoff. So he pretty much, came in with the bang, and it sounds like, he's going to be that next receiver. They was talking to him today on the coaches show, and he was the guest, and they were saying, how did you prepare? He said, I've been watching Malik Washington. So he really.
I told my mom. My mom was like, "Who does he compare to?" And I was like, "Malik Washington." And she was like, "Huh? He looks like he's taller than Malik." And I was like, "I think him and Malik are about the same height, and they just their speed is like the same. Like they have a lot of similarities." I said, "But the thing is, I think that we're going to have a better line than Malik did that would allow Cam Ross to show out a little bit more than what Malik was able to."
We may even have a better quarterback, honestly. So, it could be that the quarterback is better. So yeah, we may have a better line for sure, I feel. And we'll talk about that in a minute, but they definitely could have a better quarterback as well. And I don't even want to say this, but it could be true that, the cast of receivers that complement Ross are pretty damn good as well. When you're talking Jamal Edgerrin, Terrell Harris, Dakota Twitty at receiving tight end. Then of course, Cam Ross. Could we be witnessing another, dare I say, record-breaking type of a season from someone who really is trying to fit right in and be one of those players similar to what Malik Washington was, record-breaking receiver, ACC record-breaker, not just Virginia records, ACC record-breaker when it comes to receiving receptions in a year. And, what's even crazier about it is, coming from JMU, I mean, they said he's been in there for 5-6 years, as well as far as like being a college athlete. It's surprising that he wasn't at a higher profile school. Nothing against JMU, but based off of what I'm seeing, the kid is big time. And some people are going to try to poo-poo it and say, "Oh, it's just Coastal Carolina." But I don't care who you are. If you're, doing what he's done and put up those kind of numbers on on a college level, it's definitely something to behold, and something to watch out for. But he was ACC Player of the Week, Special Teams Player of the Week, and it's just another feather in the cap of this coaching staff that has done a good job of hitting their portal, especially for the last 2, 3 years, 4 years. Maybe recruiting high school wasn't their forte. They have hit on transfer portal kids that have come here. They've done it pretty good. I'm gonna have to say good, because this is another crop of players that have come in and contributed right away. And some people some folks may not agree, but they have had guys come in and be productive right away. So, being in the press box, watching that game, and seeing what the defense did was very impressive to me. I know that we're early in the season right now, but one thing about Coastal Carolina, they will put up points. They will put up a lot of points throughout the season, and to have them shut down by this defense that only put up 7 points and 54 yards, that's something to me. Let me come to you, Ethan. How did you feel, man, when you saw what the defense did? I know you had a different prediction as well, but when you saw what the defense did, what did you think?
I mean, I was pretty pleased. I mean, Coastal Carolina only had 13 first downs compared to our 23 first downs. So that's pretty good overall. I mean, I believe we allowed 98 yards of rushing, and passing we allowed 163, according to the team stats. Turnovers is 2. Fumbles lost, interceptions thrown 1. Their time of possession was for Coastal Carolina's offense was 26 minutes compared to our 33 minutes. So, I mean, overall, we held them to 7 points. The biggest thing is how good this defense actually is. I think it's going to be a testament by the time we hit Florida State. How good is NC State? To really rank up our defense was are we just this good, or was Coastal Carolina just that bad? I think that's going to be his biggest thing, because NC State's only played ECU, and how good do those matchups compare? Because that was actually a close game. So I think time will tell how good this defense is to see if it's actually impressive, because Florida State's now ranked 14th, and after these games coming up, including Stanford, I think we're going to see how good we actually are at home when we stack up against FSU.
Well, guess what, Ethan? You are the stats guy for Seven City Shoptalk now. So from here on out, whenever we have our games, post-game, you need to bring up the stats and let us know what we did and how the other team did, and possible for the next game if you can as well. Look at Wood. Wood is saying just getting out of dinner, still not worth 30 million, and we're double-digit favorites, so take it for what it's worth. What else is Wood got going on here? It says, you're trying to, what do you say? You're trying to, what do you say? You're trying to skip, Ethan, but you won't beat me.
Be a skip.
He's trying to be a skip, huh? Okay. Let me come to you, AB. What did you think about the defense?
Well, I think it'll be telling when like Cam Robinson and Clary come back. You gotta think two of our top guys are not there.
Not there, right?
And this is the first game. I always give grace on the first game, because that's the first game that you're really putting yourself out there and playing against a different team. You're not seeing your teammates like you do at practice. You're seeing a whole nother team. You don't know what they're going to bring. So I don't think they did terrible. I agree with Peggy needing to see more sacks. I think that's going to be beneficial. We got to create more pressure. But outside of that, for our first game, like I said earlier, we didn't look run down. And that was probably the biggest thing that I picked up on, because even the beginning of the season last year, it was like third quarter and our guys were like sucking wind, like struggling. And this year, I don't think we looked like that.
Well, you figure it like this, they said that this is really one of the first Virginia teams to have 7 300-pounders on the defense. 6 or 7 300-pounders, or right there around 300 pounds and above. And that is going to make a huge difference. It's going to give us, a 2 deep or a little bit more than a 2 deep rotation for the guys in the middle up front. And then, of course, the bookends. We got one guy who stands up, plays the bandit, which is our player, our young man from Ohio State at the bandit. But then you got Kazim Moore and Carmack, 6'4" and 6'7", the defensive ends. Those guys, you're talking just a lot of talent. And I want to say, you got a guy from Alabama playing the 3 technique, number 15. There's some they'll give some folks some issues with being able to rotate some of these players in and out. So, I feel pretty good about it. Let me come to you, Ed. What did you think about the defense from what you saw on Saturday?
It looked like a basic first game. You had like I was saying earlier, you had Cam Robinson out, you had Clary out, and was there another? There was somebody else out. I can't remember who it was. Things were kind of unsettled in the secondary to begin with. We weren't really sure, even up until probably say the last week or so, who was going to start on at corner. I think the young man from Army was almost a lock, but the other corner we didn't know. I saw some good things. I saw some bad. I liked what was the young man Minter? Am I getting that right?
Ethan.
Yeah. I from him. He had an interception, didn't he?
He had an interception.
Yeah. I saw some good things from him. Not knowing it well enough, we had some gaps. They got some chunk yardage at times, but I thought I thought they did us a huge favor when they took points off the board. That's just now they don't know that they're going to turn the ball over on the next play, but I mean I've always hated taking points off the board, but sometimes you that's his strategy. That's his strategy. Uh, you're going to be aggressive. You need to be aggressive all the time, not just occasionally. Um, but I thought that was a huge swing. It's like Virginia kind of caught its breath, and the issue wasn't in doubt after that. But if they get an early 3-0 lead and we're still struggling on offense, maybe the collar starts to get a little tighter. I don't know. But I was overall pleased, not impressed. Um, I'm not sure anything's worth $30 million, but um, it was encouraging. You look more like you look like a football team. It's just like AD was saying that you didn't see guys hands on their hips late in the game. You didn't see the fatigue that you have seen in years past. Uh, we've got 4 guys that look pretty solid carrying the ball. I imagine we'll get that down to 2 or 3, but it's nice to know that you have depth. Coach Walsh always used to say, there's no such thing as too many running backs. So we may get a chance to see that come to fruition. I think once we get our starters back, I think we'll have a much better idea of what we look like in defense. But I was encouraged. So we look a lot more disciplined, and I think it looks like a football team.
Right.
We haven't always been able to say.
That's right. So for me, my thing is, I'm a defensive guy just by nature, and I love what the defense did. I thought the defense played a complete game at all ends, all sides. The front 7. I tell you what, the linebacker Danley, the guy who came in for Cam Robinson, he was sticking. He was filling the gaps, and it's almost frightening to see what Cam Robinson is going to do with his speed as well when he's out there, with those defensive guys up front, keeping him clean so he can really run the lanes and make plays at the line or in the backfield, and then having a really solid front 7. And Peggy's right. AB's right. We want to get more sacks. They did get pressure, but we want to get more sacks. And you got to give Carolina, Coastal Carolina, some credit for what they were doing. They were getting the ball out quick as well. That they did not get themselves in a position too much where, well, they did later in the game, where they had to get more pressure, where they had to, hold on to the ball a little bit more to let the receivers get down the field and throw, closer to the sticks. But, beginning of the game, they're throwing a lot of quick stuff. Remember, it's an air raid offense. Things are kind of already, 3-level, already determined, where, deep, short, or middle short. A lot of times, that allows them to get the ball out because things are somewhat predetermined based off of what they see from the defense. So they was, and the air raid is designed, get the ball out quick. So I really felt like, the defense just really couldn't get home. But when they needed to take a break, when they needed to buckle down and they needed to get the ball down the field based off of the score, and they need to get chunk plays. It was hard to get chunk plays because they were the defensive backs were locking things down. Those guys did their damn job. That was something that we really hadn't seen in a little bit of time, where we could definitely see the defensive backs breaking on a lot of balls, and also the defensive backs filling the lane, a la Ethan Mentor, running the lane to try to and not try, but succeed in tackling one-on-one, tackling in space, which has always been an issue for UVA here, for a long time. I know we had some guys that were exceptional, like Quinn, like Jonas, but some of the other players, would have some issues tackling in space. And there was a lot more broken tackles. One thing I did see with this game is if the guys got their hands on a player with the ball, they got them down. They were dead where they were caught, right there. No more yards, no more yak. If you caught the ball, we got our hands on you, you're down. And that's something that I was definitely excited to see from this defense. You can tell that was an emphasis of this team for the last off season. So, with that being said, we're really excited about the offense, really excited about the defense. Now let's talk about the special teams. Okay, you cannot say enough and be more excited about what's been going on with the special teams. I'm not even upset about the 50-plus kick that Will couldn't make. That was a 50-plus yard field goal. And he just missed it. But the block punt, which we had a block punt in quite some time, and then of course the return game with Ross there, looks like this could be something special if indeed the team has this focus and is making plays on special teams, and that's when good teams really separate, when they can make plays on special teams as well. Let me come to you, AB. Let me ask you, what did you think about the play on special teams?
I mean, I don't think we have anything to complain about. I mean, yeah, Bettridge, which for Bettridge, that's kind of crazy that he actually missed one. He doesn't usually do that. He's usually like our go-to. We don't have a problem, out of him, but, nobody's perfect. So I'm not even, I'd rather him miss this one than miss in a game that we really truly needed it. So hopefully he's got that out of his system now. But outside of that, I mean, I thought we did very, very well. I mean, even the kicks that he didn't return, there wasn't really any muff punts. There wasn't any like fumbles. Like we looked good. And like I said, it is Coastal. Yeah, we know that. But putting that aside, these are the fundamentals. The fundamentals are not dropping the ball, catching it properly, fielding it properly. We have the fundamentals and we look good with those. So now it's just continuing to build on that and be able to compete with who we have moving forward.
coming to you, Ed. Special teams. Give me your opinion about the special teams before I move on to Ethan.
I thought it was really clean football. The kick up the punt block and the return game were were bonus. It was one of the, I'm sitting here listening to Adi and Ethan. One of the things that strikes
Yeah.
me is we were talking about how there was a fall off. There wasn't a we didn't have guys getting tired. The other thing I noticed was that special teams was markedly improved, and I'm wondering how one of the things I'm noticing is that this team has much more depth. Uh, was sort of like a borderline one double A team in years past, where starters were okay, but if there's something to the starters, you could be in trouble. Uh, and usually your backup. Some teams play starters on special teams. I'm not sure if Virginia's doing that or not, but there was more. We were more consistent. We played clean football. Uh, like Katie said, no muff. Uh, we looked like we knew what we were doing out there. It was refreshing. Um, and like I said, I'm wondering how long it's going to be before people start kicking away from Cam Ross, because you run it back for 100 in the opening game. That sort of catches people's attention. So uh, the moves and the counter moves are always interesting to see how they will respond. But I mean, the 50-yard field goal, that's not like what everybody was saying. That's not exactly a stick shot. Um, so as long as if he's consistent from say 40 on in, I'll take that. Having a guy that can nail it from 50 plus is extra. But consistently from 40 yards on in, you need that late in the game. So the punting was the punting was pretty solid as well. I thought, and not nothing spectacular, but just solid. Um, no screw up, no dumb penalties. It was kind of weird. Maybe some of the discipline stuff got through to him. I don't. I mean, I hate to be like that, but we a lot of times we were our own worst enemies last year, and I'm not seeing that. At least it's just one game, but the execution was much better all the way around, but in particular on special teams.
Right. And for me, looking at the guys, hold on, looking at the guys, in the kicking game, like Ed was saying, I think Sparky averaged, Daniel Sparks, the punter, averaged 48 yards, I believe, a punt. And then Sparks also put almost every ball in the end zone. That's another thing on kickoffs. We kicked off a lot. We scored a lot. A lot of the balls went into the end zone and didn't get returned. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. That means, they're starting, from a 25 or whatever it is now. I believe it's 25 in college, where they're starting you off from, and they're not getting a return to get some field position. So Sparky did a hell of a job kicking it deep. And then, of course, punting. And, I was excited, man. Then, of course, Cam Ross taking off and getting the ball in the end zone off of a kick return. And let me come to you, Ethan. Let me give me your opinion on the special teams.
I mean, it seemed like pretty good blocking. As far as I remember, the last time we actually missed a field goal was last year at with Richmond. And Bethridge, if I pronounced his name right, maybe I didn't. He missed, I think, at the close to halftime. So
Right.
I think the biggest thing is nailing extra points. We seem to not have missed any of those easy points, so we should not be missing. Overall, I was pretty pleased with special teams. I mean, everything I watched, there was definitely some starters, like on the teams, like kickoff. Yeah, I could see like Xavier Brown was out there. And I guess he shares starter role for tailback, running back. It's kind of scary to see that, but I guess it makes special teams better when you have some of your better players out there that can make plays.
That's right. So yeah, for me, I mean, like I said, it was impressive. I was excited. The defense and special teams were dominant. The offense took a little bit to get the engine going, but then once they got the engine going, it was very impressive from what I could tell from my view. So we got this out of our system. We got everything covered when talking about the game against the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina and South Carolina, and 1 down, 11 to go. So let's get to the next game. Big game. I said earlier in the show, I said, is this a must win? Is this a game where is this a must win early second game of the year that has so much meaning in what this team could possibly dream to be for this season? Before I give it to you, I'm gonna come to you, Ed. Come back to you, bounce right back to you. NC State. Before we do our predictions and all, NC State has been one of the more successful teams. I want to say they have the most wins for the past 4 or 5 years in the conference, and they've just been trouble, especially when you have to play them in Raleigh. But what comes to mind? And this is going to be kind of like quick answers for everybody. What comes to mind when you think of NC State football? Coming to you, Ed. Oh, hold on.
I hate playing down there. It's we never seem to play well, and it's a couple of times it's gotten away from us. Um, it, it, I think we're gonna see a lot about what kind of team we have. Uh, I think it's a winnable game. Is NC State really that good, or is East Carolina that bad? Uh, a little early to say for sure. Uh, so you still don't know what what we still don't know what we have for that matter. But NC State always seems to cause us problems, and they kind of they've been known to smack us around a little bit. I remember when what was his name, Philip Rivers uh, was playing, he would just pick us apart, and they always seem to have a quarterback that would do that. And the running backs, we make them look all conference. Which I don't know if it says more about them or more about us. But it's a tough place to play, and I'll be curious to see what the end result looks like. Not necessarily. I'm not sure, but I think I said this is going to be a loss, maybe. But it's. I think, like I said, I think we'll have a much better idea of what exactly we're working with after. Not so much from a win loss, but just how does it look on the field? What the sniff test, if you will. Did we play well and just come up short, or did we crap the bed again? We seem to do that a lot. So I'm as I still want to win, but I'm more interested in seeing how do we play? How do we respond to being on the road?
Right. Let me come to you, AB. NC State, what do you think?
I'm going to say win. I think the defense is going to step up, and we're going to win the game. Defense wins games. You said quick, so that's my quick answer.
Okay. Ethan, let me come to you. What do you think when you think of NC State football?
You talking about this season or as a whole?
As a whole, just like when you think, NC State football, what do you think? Because we don't really play them a ton, and in actuality, this is going to be a non-conference game. even though they're in the ACC as well. It's going to be considered a non-conference game. But what do you think about NC State when you talk about NC State football?
Well, I think their fans like to travel, and when they're at home, they show up. They're pretty passionate fans. So I think it'll be a loud, intensity place to play. That was horrible wording, but anyway, I think it'll be a tough place to play. But overall, them as a whole, I don't. I think they're beatable.
Well, this is what I'll say. NC State, like shout out to Devin Foster, of course, Wood, Peggy, in the building, in the chat. Thank y'all for tuning in and contributing. When I think of NC State, I think teams that have a lot of talent. They have had so much talent run through that program. Dare I say, to me, out of the Carolina football programs in the ACC, and I'm counting North Carolina in this, that they've had like the most talent over the past, in my opinion, 10 years run through that system over the last 10 years. And they really, really, show out. Like Ethan was saying, there's a lot of support. There's a lot of a lot of fans coming out of Raleigh. They got great boosters. I mean, they fill that stadium, and it'll be a sellout. It's going to be at high noon. It's going to be great. I think our team is being that we have tenured players, we have seniors, we have grad students, we have players that have played in intense environments and on the road. And I think it's going to make a huge difference this weekend. And I think we're going to see a different UVA team on the road against a team that typically does really well in the conference. So has everybody given their NC State what they think? Let's jump into our score predictions. Now I'm coming straight to you, AB. I'm coming to you with this one. And if you could give us an idea of what the scores we had predicted last week, that would be great, because I know that the score to this week was 48-7.
It was 48-7. That's what the final score was.
I believe so. Yeah.
So it said 31-10. I said 37-27. Law said 38-14. Chad said 34-27. And we all picked UVA to win. And then you have Ethan, who said that Coastal Carolina was going to win 32-17.
I think either was shooting in the dark with that one. I think I think I was the closest, wasn't I? Was it 14 to what? 34? Is that what it was?
I don't know. It might have, yeah, because you had 38-14.
38-14. Okay.
So you were closest on the UVA side, and you were closest on you were the closest.
I felt like, I just felt that one a little bit.
Yeah, why are you laughing?
Look at Wood. What is Wood laughing about? Look at Wood. What are you? What's so funny, dude? So let's go ahead and get our predictions out of the way. So I'll let you go ahead and start since you're on the tube. Let's get your score for the NC State game.
28-24 UVA.
28-24 UVA. That's from AB.
And my player this weekend is going to be Trell Harris.
Trell Harris. Burner. All right. Let's come to Ed. Talk to me.
There we go.
There you go.
My mortal enemy, the mute button. I'm going to go 31-23 Virginia.
Okay. It has a
Oh,
31
yeah.
player of the game, offense.
Um, Xavier Brown.
Okay. Like that. Ethan,
Well,
fiction.
I will say this. I'm gonna give my score kind of a little feedback. I'm gonna say 27 to 14 UVA. I think the very similar matchups from last week and this week of who they played, versus especially the statistics of what both teams produced and defensively went against. I think this game's going to define us. We need this win on the road. If we can't win on the road here, we're going to struggle later in the season. So, especially when we played Stafford, we need this win to translate into Stanford. Sorry, oh, I'm miswording everything today. But anyway, I think this is a crucial win just because it's on the road. Even though it's not a conference game, it's still ACC gameplay, and it's going to be a much tougher opponent than our last game. So I'm hoping this turns out the way it does. And then when we go into William and Mary, we definitely rest our players more to prepare for Stanford and Florida State, so we had prevent those injuries. So yeah, 27 to 14. I think this will be a closer matchup. I know NC State is a 3-point favorite in this game. We're the underdogs. So I think this game defines part of our season.
And you're saying very, very similar to what I was just saying. I said, is this a game that is like a must-win away game and a season-defining victory or loss could put both of our programs on a spiral going or an ascension going one direction or the next. Chad Wood has 31 to 30, NC State winning, and Trell Harris as his player of the game. So we got Wood's prediction and his player of the game as well. And I'm going to give mine. My prediction, I think we're going to put up 31 points on them. And I think they're going to score 21. I'm looking at 31-21 UVA.
Notably, too long. They don't like to run the ball a lot. They're more pass heavy.
You may be playing into UVA's hands if you want to throw the ball heavy. Remember, they went deep on defensive backs this offseason. Defensive backfield, you're throwing the ball. You got big defensive ends they're trying to throw over. If they're trying to throw things short towards the sideline, you got to throw around 6'6", 6'7", 6'4". You got to throw around those kind of guys. Also, our defensive backs, our corners, are covering really well. Like they're seeing, their eye discipline looks good. They're reading things properly. They're breaking on balls, based off of what I saw from Coastal, and also being vets. We just got a lot of returning players and a lot of vets out there. I just see if they're going to continue if they want to pass the ball like I think they want to do, like the air raid we just went against, which is I feel like they're going to, like you said, Ethan, employ that passing game plan. I'm thinking it's going to be a surprise. And UVA is going to beat them by more than what a lot of people are thinking, similar to what Coastal Carolina. Not a beatdown, but 31-21 is my prediction. And my player of the game is going to be the quarterback who just hurt his shoulder. It's going to be Chandler. I think Chandler's going to show out. I think he has to get, in the beginning, he had to get a little more comfortable with his receivers and everything. And I think with Trell Harris, Ross, Jamal Edrin, Dakota Twitty, I just think that he's going to be dealing out there. He was getting there. And at halftime, he had 267 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. He should have had 3 because remember Ross got tackled right at the one after he threw Ross a pass off to the sideline there, a little bit of a slant, and he almost took that to the house. So he could have had 3 touchdowns, and at 260 some yards or 50 some yards at halftime. So I just think that he's going to take him a little bit. Peggy has said her player of the game is Jamari Taylor, who had 2 rushing touchdowns this past game as well. Jamari Taylor, of course, scored in every game for North Carolina Central last year. It's easy for him typically to get in the end zone if you watch his highlight tape. But he has a nose for the end zone for sure. So yes, so we got our score predictions. We got our player of the game.
I need Ethan's player of the game.
Player of the game, Ethan?
You can go with Chandler Morris. I think without him, this team doesn't have an identity on offense.
Okay. How about this? How about we give a shout out to the student section at the University of Virginia? Great job. They apparently broke a student section record for the Hill and the student section. Of course, student section is right there at the end where the Hill is, right beside the band. They have their own section. That was filled up all the way to the top. And then the entire hill was full. It was a sea of orange on the hill. It was beautiful to see, especially when you're coming off of the kind of year of what we had where the fans were not showing up. I was pleasantly and just surprised, happy to see that much orange. At first, you really couldn't tell how many people were going to be there because right there at kickoff or right before kickoff, the stands on the other side were not quite full as it kind of goes with UVA, but they filled in very quickly. And of course, the home side was good and full based off what I could see looking down. I could see like a lot of the seats were filled, but 46,000, stadium holds 65,000, got 20 more thousand people we can fit in there. Now, I don't want to look ahead. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to look ahead. Listen, guys, if they get past this NC State game with it, with a big W, because this will be a big W. You hear me, guys? A big W. And then they got Stanford. Then they have William and Mary. If they go into this Florida State game, and I like to look down the road, man. They're going into this Florida State game with a record of 3-1, 4-0 on a Friday night. Can you imagine what the UVA environment is going to be like? Let's just say UVA plays similar to how they've been playing. I feel like they could beat, if they play anything close to what they played this past Saturday, I think they can beat NC State. Hands up, hands down, straight up. Okay? I think they can beat NC State. NC State's got a freshman quarterback in there. I think that, they stop the team running the ball, and then you put Coach Rudzik out there with his schemes to confuse young quarterbacks. I think they can do some things at NC State. And they don't turn the ball over. I think they can win that game. But Stanford, I think, is a winnable game. I think UVA will be favored in that game. Then, of course, naturally they'll be favored against William and Mary. And if they can get to 4-0, Friday night is gonna be a madhouse, an animal house. It's a Friday night game at night. Florida State coming to town. The boys gonna be driving. Those Florida State big boosters gonna be driving those big RVs into town. That's what that big money from Tallahassee, all these retirees and all these big time Florida State fans and followers. They have a huge following. And they're gonna bring their band. They're gonna do their chop and whatever else. let's just get past NC State, okay? Let's see how this NC State game goes. And I'm just putting it out there, guys. We all are gonna have to go to this game on Friday night. Ed, I think I still got your shirt. All right, I still got to get, and you too, Ethan. I got to get you your shirt. If it's all what I think it's gonna be, and we're going into this game on Friday night, 3-1, 4-0. We all got to show up at this game. All right, I'm so serious about that. But let's get this NC State game business. Let's take care of business with them, and see. So AB, you want to give us the rundown of what the numbers were for everybody and the stats for, or not the stats, but the players. Everybody pick really quick before we get into a little bit of NFL talk.
For last game or for the upcoming game?
For the upcoming game.
So I said 28-24 UVA with Trell Harris being the player. Ed said 31-23 Xavier Brown. Ethan said 27-14. We've all picked UVA so far, but then here comes Wood. 31-30 NC State. And he said Harris as well. And then Law said 31-21 UVA Chandler.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay. We got it recorded. Got it on the books. Let's see how the team shakes out. My man Devin's tuning in. He's saying 28-21 UVA.
Devin, who's your player? I'm writing down everybody's. I wrote down Peggy's as well.
Yep. Give us your player, Devin. This is gonna be great, man. I think, and I know how we did last year. We started out really good, really hot. This just feels different to me. It feels different. It feels like, we're dealing with a team with, like we said, with some depth, and also a team that is not afraid well, afraid's not the right word. It's a team that I feel is he says Morris. There we go. Thank you. I think it's a team that has kind of been here before, is what I want to say. You got a lot of guys, like I said, who played in pressure situations. Remember, Chandler was at TCU. And TCU is a big football program down there in Texas. A speed team. All them Texas teams are fast and they play with a lot of speed, a lot of athletic. But it's, the state of Texas is football central between them and Florida. Go ahead, Ed. Come on in. We got your nemesis on. Hold on. I got you. There you go.
I think he's frozen. Something might have happened.
Can you hear us, Ed?
No, he's frozen.
He's frozen.
Can take a screenshot of us, make memes out of it.
We won't do that. He says DB has small DBs. He think it works in our favor. Well, you got a beast like Jamal Edgerrin on the outside. I definitely think it works. And then you can get maybe some of those guys going up against Dakota Twitty. Sage Ennis as well. We keep blowing over Sage, who is the actual starter. Is just the receiving tight end happens to be Dakota. Oh, there you go, Ed. Hold on. There you go. Are you there?
Okay. Better?
There you go. All right, go ahead.
How did TCU do this weekend?
TCU did great. Did great.
Did they? Just curious. I'm sorry. What was the question? I blanked.
I was just asking how TCU was just a speed school. It was a program that typically has a good track team.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of schools in Texas, outside of where you got Texas and Florida, and California too, but in my opinion, more so Texas, Florida, with the best football programs, best high
Texas
school football.
Alabama, it borders on a religion.
Well, the schools have better stadiums than a lot of colleges in the nation. The high
Some
schools
of the
do.
high schools have some of the high school stadiums are ridiculous.
That's right.
So yeah, it's the kids used to big time football, but we shall see. I'm hoping was it his shoulder? I thought yeah, it was his shoulder. Yeah, he needs to slide there. I appreciate the hustle, but
Yeah.
in a non conference game like that, big league, just go down.
Yeah. You're absolutely right on that. Now, let's get to some pros really quick. The pro game kicks off. The NFL kicks off this Thursday. Big game. You got the Chad Woods Dallas Cowboys going against the Philadelphia Eagles. Does anybody want to talk about anything from a professional standpoint? As far as
No.
who's gonna win, who do they have an idea of, or have an idea of what their team is gonna do? Let me ask you this, Ethan. You are a Colts fan, right? How many wins for the Colts? Y'all be thinking about your team and how many wins.
I haven't really thought that far ahead. Daniel Jones at quarterback. I mean, we're going to be better than we were last season because, yeah, he wasn't the answer. I don't know. It's not going to be good. I definitely think we have a losing season. Hopefully, really bad till we get Arch Manning. He starts playing better. But yeah. Well, I don't mean to change subject. What did you think of that with Texas, Ohio State? Some of these prospects are maybe be drafted next year.
I think we'll kind of look at that a little bit when we get to it. I just feel like Arch Manning, he's raw. He's, it's his first big game on the road. I think Arch Manning is still a project, and he's just gonna have to. We're gonna have to see what how he does moving forward this year. But he doesn't have time to really lose these games. They're expecting them to be in the championship game this year, so we'll see how Texas shakes out. So AB, Washington, how many games you got?
I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. I got some feedback. Yeah, in regards to kind of what Ethan was going off of, I think something I wanted to mention was I think we really need to watch somebody emerging as a Heisman candidate. And I want to go on early saying it, but I think we need to watch Castellanos. I think he may emerge as a candidate by the end of the season.
100% agree.
Solid. Like that kid, I've never seen a more solid quarterback from start to finish in my life for first game. Like he looked amazing. So I think that's the scary part about FSU. But at the same time, shout out to him. I mean, the kid did what he needed to do to be great. And so shout out to him. I think he has great potential. And in comparison, sorry, Ethan, to Arch Manning, I think Castellanos is so much better. So much better. But in regards to the pros, I don't really have it's too early for me to say a win-loss, but I will say I'm excited to see the running back. I actually drafted him on my fantasy team because I think he's going to be a standout player for us this year.
Well, let me come to you, Ed. Hold on a second, Ed. Let me bring you in. There you go.
All right. I think it's going to be a long year. I'll say that about that there's 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 too many gaps. There's the offensive line is still a mess, um, and they still don't have an end to compare to help out Max Crosby. So um, they were still bringing in safeties the last week of camp. So I think there's too much unsettled on both sides of the ball. Uh, I think 500 would be a great season, and I don't think we're going to get that. I don't know if we'll get Arch Manning, but I don't think we're going to approach 500 even.
Okay. For me, I'm looking at Washington. Excuse me. I'm looking at 11. I'm looking at 11 games for them, at least. Now, Wood, we're looking for you, but you may or may not be here. But I'm looking at 11 games. So we'll check it with that. So let's see how the team goes. Let's see how all our teams go, and maybe we'll do some I'm not gonna say betting, but maybe we'll do some put a little wager up for whose team I guess does the best or whatever we want to do, whatever we want to say about that. But
I have some quick shout outs, by the way.
okay, yep.
Shout out to Charles Snowden, for making the 53-man roster for the Raiders. Even though Ed doesn't think it's going to be a great season, but this is the first year he's actually made the 53-man roster. So shout out to him. And then shout out to Joey Blunt. He actually was named the special teams captain for the Cardinals.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Gotta love that, man. Gotta love that. Look at Tony Minnick. What's going on, Tony? Thank you for tuning in. Good seeing
No, I think it's
you.
great for Joey. I mean, he hasn't been like a standout, but but for him to be a captain, pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
what did you guys think of Florida State, Alabama?
I felt like it was definitely a surprise to see the game the way it shook out. But I remember, Castellanos has been, doing this at Boston College. I called him, he's Kyler Murray light to me. You know what I mean? He has so many Kyler Murray characteristics, to his game. Not quite the passer that Kyler is. Kyler has a big arm for being a smaller quarterback. And then, of course, the running, very similar. And, of course, their physical stature, very similar. And their playing style is almost from the same book. But, I wasn't really – when I saw him start moving around and Alabama didn't really have an answer for him, I said, oh, he's going to be an issue all day. I think he didn't even complete 10 passes, but he kept the sticks moving, kept Alabama off schedule, and it made things happen. But UVA has played him and beat him at Boston College. They know they have to keep him bottled in and make him throw from the pocket. But that's down the road. But let's do this. Let's get into our closing monologues. I'm coming to you first, Ed.
Not sure what to say tonight. I was encouraged. As a Virginia fan, it's hard to be optimistic, but I I saw enough of the things that I like to see to feel positive going forward. Like I said, I've said for a while now, NC State is going to be a not a pivotal game for us, but it, it's um it's a big opportunity. I think is probably the best way to put it for us to take a big step forward. Um, Beat NC State and all sorts of things start to open up. Play well and lose, and I still think we're okay. Uh, Crap the bed, could be okay. Um, but I am cautiously optimistic. I think it's probably the best way to put it. We'll see how things play out going forward. Um, by the way, has anybody checked on Paul Feinbaum? Had a dude had a rough weekend. I just want to make sure he's okay.
Yeah,
Now,
he did.
Arch Manning apparently is not as good as Tim Tebow was, and I was pretty sure he picked Carolina to beat TCU. So
Hmm.
tough weekend, big guy.
Right. Let me come to you, Ethan. Close the monologue.
Well, I think the big question is going to be, will this program take a step forward in the right direction, or are we going to be in the same spot we're at with this game? Winning on the road is very important for the rest of
Can
the
one of us
season.
mute? Can one of us mute?
Hold on.
For the rest of the season, what's our identity going to be? Like back to AB's point, we need more sacks. We need to be able to show against ACC teams we have a good defensive front. I think that's going to be crucial. Getting sacks and winning on the road. Those two things are going to define us the rest of the season, especially going on the road all the way to Stanford and some of these other places. This is a must win. Otherwise, it just kind of shows our progress really hasn't stepped forward, because the team we just beat is one of the easier teams we're going to win this season. How are we going to do against a higher rated talent? So that'll define us.
AB, closing.
So Tony, yeah, he said Snowden was on the roster last year. He was, but he didn't make it like from the beginning. He made the practice squad and then got moved up to the roster. So this is his first time making, from the very start of the season, making the 53-man roster. But I'm just excited. I mean, y'all know me. You know where I stand with a lot of things, but I'm being optimistic. I'm being positive. I hope Ball Hawk is watching so he can hear me. Be positive, but I think I have high hopes for this team. I mean, I hope so, with spending as much money as we did, but we'll see.
All right. And for myself, what I like to say is, I said I was pleasantly surprised based off of what I saw this past Saturday. I was optimistic. I felt like UVA was going to win the game and win it handedly, but did not know that they would run away with the game the way that they did. Now, there comes an NC State game. We're going to Raleigh. And to me, there are statement games you can make. Florida State had a statement game. They made a statement. UVA has an opportunity to make a statement. From a program that's been struggling and from a program that's done well in the ACC over the past 5 years. They've won more games than anybody, I think, are right about there. We have an opportunity to make a statement on a team that's probably going to go to a bowl game this year. And I don't think that they're underestimating us, because I believe that they, great Coach Tuje, and who's there, used to be the offensive line coach here. I think that they really kind of understand that, UVA is a team on the rise. And I think they want to kind of tamp that down. They want to try to keep the Wahoos from really exploding on them. But I can tell you this much: the players that are there now are not the same players he had when he was here. Because remember, one thing that the issue was with this program was they lost whole offensive lines for 2 years straight, and could not keep an offensive line, 5 healthy offensive linemen, for quite some time. Now they can go 3 deep. That's right out of Tony's mouth. 3 deep. They got 3 different sets of starters, and they played all of them before the game was a blowout. And that was by design. They played all those guys by design, kept everybody fresh. So with that being said, I'm thinking that I'm very optimistic about what this team can do and where we are as a program. This is a statement, an opportunity to really make a statement, guys. And this is going to be a team that is definitely looking for us. We're not sneaking up on them. And we're going to line it up, and we're going to see if we're going to take over the trenches against one of our old coaches who is very aware of the talent that we've acquired, and he's going to do everything to try to stop us. But let's see where we go. And nothing but excitement from here, guys. Nothing but excitement. But I got to thank all of you viewers and listeners for hanging out with us. And thank you for supporting us. And thank you for showing up at the game. And now let's build on this. We got, we have 46,000, had more students there than we had ever had at one time. Now let's continue to build. And I know a lot of that comes with winning. So let's keep the momentum going. And one pitfall, one mistake, one loss doesn't mean you don't show up again. But it's obvious we have a team that I think is definitely needing our support, but also is a team that could do some bigger things than what a lot of folks thought this team could do. But thank you guys for the show time and hanging out, and we'll see you next week. And I have Greg Madia from the press, Daily Press, next week as well on. So tune in, hang out, and we'll be back to see you soon. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Wahoo.